What you have seen there is a short history, but a very fast history of Android. And who would have thought a few years ago that we would end up with more than 300,000 Android activations per day, and that number is growing very fast, and more than 170 compatible Android devices, 27 OEMs, 169 carriers, and 69 countries. And now it's interesting, we have more than 150,000 applications on our Android App Store. That number has tripled in 9 months. So this is, I believe, now the fastest growing mobile platform in the world. Of course, it's appropriate that we be here at the most important mobile congress in the world as well. This is not about a phone. It's not about a platform. It's about an ecosystem and everybody here in the room working together. And what I want to do is I want to put what we're doing and why we're doing it into a kind of perspective that can help you understand what we're doing and maybe get your help in building it out. Because we're going to need everybody to help us make this thing what it can really be in. I particularly like coming to Europe because the European government always thinks ahead. Broadband targets, right? European Union broadband targets. Basic broadband for every European Union citizen by 2013, 100%. Good. Fast broadband defined as 30 megabits per second. They want 100% of EU citizens to have that by 2020, and they want 50% of the European households to have subscriptions above 100 megabits per second in 2020. Now, this is a group I can work with, because this is a group that really understands the power of broadband, the power of connectivity, and the importance that this has in everything we do. Our daily lives, the way we literally live, work, play, entertain ourselves, the structure of our markets, and so forth and so on. Now, I've been thinking a lot about this. We've seen so much progress, right? So much progress in the last decade. And it's interesting that it's happening so fast, people don't appreciate how profound these changes are. And everything's changing again. Sorry to say, if you just feel like you're a little bit being jerked around by it all. And I've actually come to a new view. I actually think it's going to get to the point where technology is going to serve humans and not the other way around, which is what it seems to be today. We seem to be spending all of our time serving technology. And it's interesting that Joe Scarborough just wrote an article. He's an American columnist who's very sort of well followed. He talks of a world where computers offer a cold substitute to human contact. And he says technology is winning the battle against actual human contact. And I think that this kind of criticism is exactly wrong. That in fact what we're building is in fact the opposite of what people are criticizing us for. That in fact the goal of everything we're doing is so that I can spend more time with the people that I care about, friends, family, and so forth and so on. That I can spend more time exploring new places. That I can have a more fulfilled life as I define it. And that I can make the world a better place. And for every version of I, just said, say yourself, or say your friends, or say all of the human citizens. And I would offer sort of a happiness theorem, that computers are really here to make us happier, and that the quicker we can get to doing what we want, because computers take care of the stupid stuff, the stuff that bugs us, the stuff that's in our way, the better for all of us. So why is this occurring today? Because of the prevalence of mobile networks. This is what this whole conference is about. A music player that's not online is not particularly interesting. Think every single device you have, and imagine that it's connected to the cloud and can do something more interesting. There are almost no exceptions. And in fact, physicists, technologists, and so forth are working very hard to make that possible. So what's interesting about developers is today they think mobile first. And they think mobile first because they know that this is where the scale is. So if you're a young programmer, somebody coming right out of college, or somebody trying to start a new business, you're going to start mobile first because that's where the growth is. That's where the action is. Whether it's true in our platforms, competitors' platforms, or others. Now, how did all of this happen? Well, it's occurred because of three underlying technology trends that have been going on for a long time. When I was at Sun in 1983, I was very excited about the 3M platform. 1 megapixel, 1 megabit, essentially 1 megahertz. Now today, these computers, my Nexus S, for example, has 160 gigabyte of flash memory, a gigahertz processor, and a camera that takes 5 megapixel photos. Who would have thought that in that period of time, all the things that I worked so hard to build, took so many people, could now be put literally in my hand? And this, of course, is just this month's flavor. Imagine next month and the following month and so forth and so on. You get the idea. And in fact, what's interesting is we've talked about this for a long time. It's not like these ideas have been, the whole notion of cloud computing is a new one. It's been present in one form or another in computing and computer science for many, many decades. So smartphones are clearly taking over, right? Last year, I predicted, based on a whole bunch of analysis, that within 2 years, smartphones would surpass PC sales. Well, as usual, I was wrong. Smartphones surpassed PC sales on a quarterly basis last week. And by the way, PCs are not catching up at the rate they want. So it's already over. We already know that the smartphone is the destination for the next generation of games, apps, social connectivity, all the things that we all care about. And it's interesting, in sort of reflecting on the history of this, I'm old enough to actually be able to think about these things. This device has more than 20,000 times the computing capability of the sort of the lunar mission in 1969. Again, you start thinking about what has occurred, what we get put in people's hands today, and it's just alarming at how powerful these things really are. And of course, the same thing that's occurred on the networks. The average connection speed for smartphones increased by over 60% versus 2009. Now, many of you are on networks where you don't feel that's true. But the fact of the matter is, it is. What's happened is that the connections have gone up and your demands have gone up even higher. But the fact of the matter is that the operators, many of whom in this room, are pouring billions and billions of dollars and euros to make it possible for us to offer wireless data at this scale. And it's interesting that we're at the point now where roughly 98 or 99% of the world's mobile phone operators offer megabit per second or higher speeds, EVDO and up.